That's pretty good. I have another question here, like the second one. So, what is your opinion? The most common reasons, right? Building permit application got delayed, one, or denied in Ontario. Yeah, delayed or denied.
So there are a few reasons. There is the homeowner aspect. There is a consultant aspect, and there's a municipal aspect.
Okay.
So we can start with the homeowner aspect.
Okay.
So as pretty much per what we discussed previously, situation happened that you submit something to the municipality and it's just not sufficient. Respectfully to homeowners out there, they don't really know what needs to be submitted. Usually they would listen to, the front desk. They would tell them what needs to be done.
Right.
And they would do it, and it would not be sufficient. They would go back and forth, which eventually creates frustration.
Yeah.
So homeowner can be a huge aspect of why applications sometimes are not being accepted.
Because they have no idea how to do it. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. First of all, they're not professional, and
They try to save money, which eventually,
Yeah.
unfortunately, spends them more money. So for an example, if you're trying to have an application for a secondary unit in your house, secondary unit is a business.
Right.
Unfortunately, homeowners don't approach it as that. They approach it as extra income.
Right.
But if you realize that a secondary unit is a business, then you understand that every month that you don't get a tenant, you lose money.
Right. Yeah. True.
So what happens is a lot of homeowners will try to submit, applications and drawings on their own. And they would go to the city. The city will deny the drawings. And they would go again. And after
deny it again.
Exactly. And they will give them a little bit more information, what needs to be done, a little bit more, which, by the way, I always, when I used to teach in the college, I always told my students that when you approach the municipalities, an answer is only as good as the question. So if you don't know how to ask the right question,
They won't let you know.
You will get the wrong answer. So if you come in, for an example, and ask, can I build a house on this property? Yes, you can. The question is, what needs to be done in order to build a house on this property?
Yes.
What are the zoning bylaws? What do I need for building permits and stuff like that? But we'll go back to what we were talking about.
Like delayed and,
Yeah. So again, human aspect. That's
The
one.
homeowner.
The homeowner. Yes.
right.
That's one thing that could be a problem.
Right.
Second problem is a consultant. Unfortunately, sometimes a homeowner picks the wrong consultant.
Unprofessionally.
Usually
Incompetent individuals or companies, right?
Exactly. Usually what happens is somebody younger that charges less, that you think that you're going to save money with them. And eventually what happens, you actually...
spend extra penny on
So think about it this way,
Right.
You get company A would give you X amount of money for your job. You get company B would give you half an X. And you think, okay, that's great. Let's pick company B with half an X. But company B doesn't know how to do it right 100%. So what happened is they're pretty much getting paid by you to train. And they go to the city and they get denied. They go to the city again, they get denied. They waste a couple of months out of your life. And those couple of months, that's 2 or 3 months less that you're going to get in your rent. If you were to get the experienced company.
Maybe you pay more.
And paid a little bit more.
Yeah.
But you would have saved out of those 3 months, maybe 2 to 2.5 extra months. So this is something that unfortunately is not out there. And this is something that not every client understand. But I'm really, really trying to promote that not always the cheapest guy. Well,
like contractors.
Yeah, not always the
like,
cheapest person will do the best job when it comes
Right.
to consulting. Yes.
Right.
And of course, there's the municipal aspect. Unfortunately, what we found happening a lot in the past, I would say more than a couple of years, incompetency in the municipality.
Really?
Yes.
Like how so? Would you might like elaborate more? Like
Yes. So what happens is a lot of, again, as much as I hate that word, COVID, But during COVID,
Yeah.
unfortunately, a lot of professionals that were in the municipality for many, many years, they retired. They decided to quit and retire.
Oh,
What happens that all the municipalities needed to hire
like a new
consultants, new employees as fast
new
as
employees.
possible.
Right.
So all of a sudden, you find now young employees that are not trained, that pretty much
They're now on
need
the-
to
Yeah.
that need to check drawings, and they're not 100% familiar with building codes
Mm.
or zoning bylaws. So what happens now?
Right.
There's a lot of misunderstanding, and there's a lot of
Like this
I could
communication
say silly
between.
arguments that are happening between between consultants and municipalities.
Oh, it happens.
Right? Yes, it happens.
Was it like a lot? Like quite
Well,
a
you know
few
what?
times, or
I would say that it's grew in the past couple of years. It definitely grew.
oh,
But
okay.
again, our job as consultants to do the best job we can, and we just need to make sure that everything is being reviewed, accepted, and that common sense, that building code
Building co-
eventually wins, and not just common sense.
right? Okay. Question
There's
here.
a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, question here. So have you ever been to any, argument with municipality, just general, because you mentioned, right? You mentioned like
Yes.
like quite a few consultants
Yes.
out there have an argument. Yeah,
Yes.
so have you, Max?
I can give you an example if that's
Okay.
what you're looking for.
Nice.
There's a lot of examples going on. So, for an example,
Yeah.
I don't know if you know, but in the past, I think
Before COVID? Or like
in the past year,
Okay.
sometimes in the past
the
year,
last year? Uh-huh.
the city of Toronto allowed up to 4 apartments in a house.
Oh,
So
okay.
theoretically, you can have a fourplex in many parts of the city, which is great. Now, the reason they're doing that in order to achieve, more housing, because we need more housing.
people, yeah.
The future plan of the city of Toronto supports more housing, and that's what they want to get for. The problem is that when you come to the city to apply, when you apply for permits, submit the applications, definitions are very important. Now, when you get a building that is more than 3 apartments, theoretically, it's considered to be as an apartment building.
Right.
Because it's an apartment building, it becomes the fire
Like an alarm system.
rules. The fire rules. I'm
Okay.
just trying not to use
Like
different terms, but-
terminology. Yeah.
But the fire rules are much more strict on
Fourplex.
on apartment buildings than on residential buildings.
Really?
So now,
Okay.
because as soon as you do 3 apartments and up, even for a triplex, you have to comply with those rules, which you don't need to comply for a residential building. Because clearly you have more apartments, it's obvious that you can have more fire. But the problem is that they created redundant rules in order to get that done. So on one hand,
okay.
they want affordable housing. On the other hand, they make it very difficult on you to actually build it, because they would ask you to modify. For example, if you have 2 semi-detached buildings and there's a partition wall in between, they would ask you to modify it. I'm not going to go into the details. To
Right.
modify something like that costs a lot of money,
Right.
right? To fire it many walls, to fire it many windows, which makes it almost not really affordable for developers. Now, usually when developers pay that money, eventually it gets into your rent.
That's a good
Right?
point right there.
Somebody
yeah.
has to
That's a
pay
good
for
point.
it.
Yeah.
So that's where redundancy starts with, for example, affordable housing. But besides that, when you apply for permits and submit the drawings, they ask you a lot of things that not always necessary. And you have to argue a lot and show them different building code sections that would argue otherwise. Now, while you're doing that, you're wasting 2 to 3 months sometimes.
Yeah.
Now you have an upset client.
Yeah.
Go explain to them that the municipality doesn't want to
they're
give you the
not
permits for no
allowed.
reason.
Right.
And what happens is after those 3 months, all of a sudden they're telling you,
No.
yeah,
it's
okay,
not right.
you know what? No. They actually will tell you, yeah, okay,
Yeah.
you know what? I talked to my manager
Yeah.
after you requested that, and we're going to give you the permit. But meanwhile,
And you
they
wasted
wasted
like 2-3 months
exactly
already.
of your life, which means, think about it this way. If you got a triplex in the city of Toronto,
Right.
and assuming in average you're charging for $2,500 per apartment, you got 3 apartments, multiplied by 2 to 3 months. How much money did you just lose? Or let's not call it lose, did not make.
Right.
Meanwhile, you paid more for renovations, you paid more to the city, and
Yeah.
yes.
You
But
lost.
that's again a different question.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. You lost basically 9 months of rent and you spend more.
Yeah, pretty
Yeah,
much.
right? Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Like roughly maximum, I don't know, like 9 months. And yeah, like raw material fee and
Of
like
course,
a lot of resources
you're
being
absolutely
allocated.
correct. What
Yeah,
about
yeah.
construction fee,
Those are-
replacing windows,
yeah.
replacing? There's a lot going
You're
on.
losing a lot of opportunity costs just right there.
Yeah.
Like a lot.
But again, it's our job at the end of the day,
Mm-hmm.
as good consultants. It's really our job
Which is ours.
to to fight for our client. Meaning,
Right.
at the end of the day, we will reduce most of those
Most of
requirements, and that's what an experienced, consultant and a contractor
Should
does.
do, right?
Because at the end of the day, reducing some of those requirements, saving the client sometimes thousands, if not, depending how big the project is, then thousands of dollars, which I rather than invest into finishes,
Right.
better kitchens, better finishes,
Yeah.
better repaint everything if we're looking into, an interior renovation. This is something that, again, a good design build company, consultant, contractor should always think about. At the end of the day, where does the client, where do we save the money so that the client can put it into something else?
And turn those clients to happy clients.
Yeah,
That's the whole. Yeah, that's the whole purpose.
Definitely,
That's the whole
definitely.
purpose.
That's the purpose.
That's the whole
Thank
purpose.
you for reminding me.
Yeah.
That's really
Happy
the purpose.
client.
Happy client.
Happy client. Exactly.
That's a wrap for today's podcast. Thank you for tuning in and joining us for another awesome conversation. You can check out our next video for a preview of what's coming up. Also, if you're a designer, a contractor, or just someone in the construction industry with a passion to share, we're inviting you to join us on this show. Come share your voice, your ideas, and let's make something awesome together. We'll catch you on the next one. And until then, back to work.